rescuing his comrades. But he could not go on any further. The storm had spread to the bottom and across the valley. He found a nearby cave where he would spend the night. As the night progressed, he watched the lights of his fellow expeditionaries wander endlessly across the mountain in the hellish snowstorm. Throughout the night he watched them. The first light went out and disappeared at around midnight. Others followed in the next hours. One by one, they extinguished. Jacob hoped, prayed, that the last one went out 3 hours from the first. All hope was lost. In the morning, when the storm cleared, Jacob headed further into the valley to find the 13 men that had gone back earlier yesterday. When he found them, there was only 2 left alive. The rest had died in the storm that swept down from the mountain and into the valley. The men and Jacob exchanged stories. The men told Jacob that they had seen the wandering lights up on the mountainside. The 2 men only found out in the morning that 11 men had died in the night from the cold. Part 4, The Dead. 3 weeks later, an expeditionary force of 20 men including Jacob, returned to recover anything of those who had died in the storm. They found the remains of the 11 men in the valley easily enough. They recovered their personal effects and what little bone they could find to bring back to their families. There was not much left of them from the wildlife picking at them. The bodies of the men who died up on the mountain, however, they found none, no sign of them. Gone without a trace. They searched until dusk. Then, the air got colder. Light snow began to fall down. Just like on the night Jacob's comrades met their end. They hightailed it down the mountain and into the valley. They made it into the middle of the valley and made camp for the night. Then storm came down from the mountain and into the valley just like last time. Just like the night when Jacob lost his comrades. It got colder and colder in the valley, as the storm continued to barrel down from the mountain. Part 5, The Lost. That night, Jacob and the men saw something that they could not quite believe. They saw lights, wandering upon the blizzarding mountainside. They watched from their individual tents throughout the night, as one by one the wandering lights went out. Jacob knew that it must be the spirits of his friends. Jacob wondered why he only saw 10 lights when it was 11 of his friends that disappeared up on the mountainside. Had one survived? Could one of his friends still be alive? Somewhere, lost out there in the wilderness? Where was the lost light up on the high? Answers came in the morning. Answers of where the lost light went. When Jacob awoke in the morning, the storm had cleared. Jacob and the 9 other men stepped out of their tents. 9 other men. 10 men had died from the cold that night. They must have died one by one in the night, succumbing to the cold. One by one, the 10 men's lives, snuffed out by the cold. Snuffed out like the 10 lights up on the mountainside. Chapter 2. Part 1. And now /x/ it is time to share my personal experience with the lost lights. Be me. 35. Have 3 teenage boys. Decide to go hiking with my sons, my buddy, and his 2 sons. We drive out to the edge of the wilderness at 4 a.m., park the car and start hiking at 4:30. We hike all day, only stopping at noon shortly for a quick lunch. We are walking at a decent pace. We reach the middle of a valley in the evening. We decide to camp there for the night. We ate a quick dinner and everyone went to sleep pretty quick after that from being tired from the hiking. Everyone went to bed but me. I decided to stay up and drink some beers and chillax in a fold-up chair I brought. I sat there staring at the sun that just set behind the mountain range. It got pretty cold after the sun set. Put on my jacket. Then, the fireflies came out. They danced slowly across the shape of the mountain. These fireflies were pretty weird. They didn't leave the shape of the mountain, and they didn't flash like normal fireflies. Then it hits me. Holy shit, oh fuck. JPG. Immediately get the fuck up and wake everyone. Part 2. Tell them to pack their shit, and we gotta move now. My buddy asks, what's wrong? What happened? Me, I saw them. Buddy, saw what? Me, the lost lights. Buddy looks over my shoulder and sees the lights on the mountain side. He then notices how cold it has gotten. Buddy rushes to pack everything up with the kids. We hike back as fast as we can. The boys had overheard what me and my buddy were saying. Dad, what is the lost lights? Why are we leaving right now? Can't we leave in the morning? No, I said, and I proceeded to tell them the story of the lost lights while hiking back. At around 2:30 a.m. we managed to get back to the car, and we hightailed it out of there. I drop my buddy off and me and my kids go home. I woke up at noon. Found out from the weather station there was a huge snowstorm that swept the valley we were in last night. Here comes the really scary part /x/. I saw 7 lights up on the mountain side. There were 7 of us on the trip. And that /x/ is my experience with the lost lights. Seen too much weird shit in the Uhoris and Blue Ridge to not believe in something. There's definitely some spooky stuff out there, but we'll never see it on a mass scale. Skinwalkers were a big thing out west. Goat/dog men and shapeshifters are definitely out there in some more secluded areas of the US and world. Phone posting, so sorry if bad typing. Visit Blue Ridge a bunch last few years. Up around Sparta. Grandpa died, left my uncle his cabin in his 4 acres of 300-year-old farmland. We more or less own the mountain it's on, since no one else lives there year-round. All other houses are vacation houses or hunting cabins. Camp out on the mountain a bunch. Hunt, trap, bushcraft etc. Always weird shit going down. Motor tracks/unidentifiable tracks. Weird screeching from the hills. Shuffling noises coming from the front porch. Always find scratches way high up on trees like someone gashed the tree with a bumper. Large and sharp hill right next to main road leading into driveway with incredibly steep angle going up a few hundred feet. Always see weird gangly things running around on crest of hill. Super tall. Not like NBA player tall, I'm talking 8 to 12 feet tall, their heads hit low branches. Remember finding a deer carcass cleaved in half sitting on the bank of the stream a couple hundred yards from the property. Literally in half, like some kinda giant cleaver took it down. Specifically one time I was working outside late at night. Putrid garbage smell washes over me. No neighbors, so no garbage day anytime soon. Peek around garage and up the hill behind the property. Some kinda thing is just staring me down from the tree line. Looks like someone starved a golden retriever then proceeded to stretch its limbs until it stood upright on backwards legs. Snout/mouth peeled back showing teeth and flaps of skin. Thing stares me down until I flip on a mag light around the corner and it bounds off into the pines. Don't go looking for what you ain't prepared to find, fellas. Went camping with friends a bunch in Uhoris. Close to where I live, so ease of access. Big place to camp too, could literally get lost. Lots of spooky shit still. Go camping a lot late October early November when leaves fall. Constantly hear crunching and skittering in the leaves when trying to sleep. No like squirrels playing, but big swish 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 sounds like something dragging its feet. Camping by lake one night. Get settles in hammock. Kerplunk.mp3. Something massive was just thrown into the lake. Check where the ripples lead and it's a huge log from the trails. Even for how tall I am, I barely think I could drag it with me. Driving our Uhoris late on night. Gave up on camping due to rain. Driving out real slow so some dumbass tree branch doesn't shatter my windshield. Headlights hit something massively tall, lanky as hell, hunched over just outside tree line. Looks like an emaciated gorilla. Turns to me. Mouth is all torn to shreds. Eyes are like that glossy black look, almost like pool balls. Thing slowly shuffles for my truck. Tear ass down road without a thought. See it standing in the road in my rear view. Camping again on river bank in small divot. Can see across to other side. Not paying attention really, trying to cook over fire. Something shuffle out of the tree line. Can barely see shit in the moonlight. Tall but hunched over, legs are kinda buckled under itself. Slowly bear crawls over to bank of river. Out in the moonlight so I can see it better. Has weird situation going on with its body. Legs are gangly and thin, upper body is wide and semi-muscular. Body is a sickly gray. Head has awkward horns coming out of the top. Has to crawl everywhere. Crawls up and down the bank for a few seconds. Fire pops. It immediately looked over to me. Kicks up rocks as it crawls back into the pines. Grab gun, don't sleep that night. Well, I'm not sure how paranormal this story was anymore, but there was one other time on /x/ I posted an occurrence in my life. It was fresh of my mind and I didn't green text it, so it ended up just lots of schizo word vomit. If you announce really want to hear about another experience I've had, I can try to green text it. It will take me a bit though. Sorry for the delay, grad school is a bitch. I'll try to post throughout the day, but it will probably be sporadic at best. I also didn't save my original word vomit, so I'm going to have to reread my journal to remember all the details. Anyways, I'll just jump right into it. Be me. First year of my undergrad has just ended. Despite all the support I've had, I was admittedly driverless and depressed. My family started to take note of this and came up with a plan to try and put me on the right path. As you can probably guess from the last story, my father finally divorced her and gained full custody over all my siblings. We were old enough to survive on our own, but as a way to try and make up for our mother's behavior, he tried to be more active in our lives. Upon hearing my older brother tell him about my general outlook on life, he decided this summer would be a great time to spice up my resume he had been bugging me to do things for. My father had become, while not a rich millionaire, pretty well off financially from all his hard work and traveling and remarried an Ecuadorian woman. Considering where we started out, it really shows what hard work can do. Being a bio major interested in genetics, using my father's surplus of free air miles and my stepmother's connections, they decided to send me to the Galapagos Islands. I feel like I was such a jerk off looking back because I just didn't want to